Hey guys, how's it going? It's Janie over here at JaniesSweets, and welcome back to another Friday Fixes episode where you ask me your cake questions and I do my best to answer them for you. Now, today's episode is inspired, you would say, by a little accident that happened to me a while back. If you follow me on Instagram, I had posted a video about a cake that collapsed on me on my way to deliver it to a bride. So this episode is going to be talking about what happens when you fail to deliver a cake to a customer, or if the cake collapses on you, or it's a really hot summer day and you get to the venue only to find that all of your decorations have just melted off of the cake, things like that. So I'm going to be talking about my personal experience, what I did to remedy the situation, and what it kind of the idea that it kind of sparked in me, so how I'm going to implement this in the future, so that maybe this will not happen to you, or if this does happen to you, you have an idea and you're better prepared on how to deal with it. So if you want to learn all of this, keep watching. So a little background on the story, if you have not seen the video on Instagram, is I was driving with a wedding cake. It was a 3-tier wedding cake. It was supposed to be a beautiful cake. I didn't even take pictures of it because I didn't finish it at my house. It had like a pleated kind of buttercream design, and it was all white, and it was supposed to have purple and lavender and cream flowers all over it. Now the client was going to provide me with the flowers because she wanted to make sure that it matches all the other flowers in the room. So I just made the cake and I was bringing it over to her. Now nothing happened. I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you, like literally you've done everything right, nothing went wrong, but the cake still didn't come together. Like the cake still, something happened to the cake. So that's exactly what happened to me. Nothing happened. I didn't hit any speed bumps. I didn't hit any deers crossing. There was nobody in front of me that like hit the brakes. Nothing really happened. But when I got to the venue, the cake was ruined. Like I literally opened the box and the cake was like scrambled pretty much. It literally felt like somebody took the box and shook it. That's how bad it was. So I was just so baffled. Like I will insert a picture of how the cake looked like in the box, just so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. It was just the craziest thing. And mind you, it was the first cake that I did coming back from maternity leave. Like after I got pregnant, like maybe around I was maybe like 3 months pregnant when I stopped making cakes. Like I stopped altogether. I didn't make any cakes for anybody, and this cake was the first one that I got coming back. So I think what happened is I just didn't do it right. I probably didn't dowel it correctly, because when I think about it, the way that it collapsed, it just was weird. So I either didn't dowel it correctly, or the cake was too warm, because I did do it the day of, like in the morning of, and it probably was in the fridge for less than an hour when I took it and drove with it. So I think it was just a little bit too warm, and maybe I didn't dowel it correctly, who knows. But anyway, the cake collapsed. Okay, so back to the original point of this video. What do you do when something like this happens to you and you're in front of the client and there's nothing you can do? You can't bake another cake, you can't do anything. So the number one thing that I would suggest is to keep your calm. If you panic, they panic, and it's just not a pretty picture. If you're calm, they're calm. Most likely. Some people will freak out still. However, they're most likely to freak out if you do. So keep your calm. So what I did is I opened the box and I saw it. Inside, I was screaming like, no! But on the outside, I just like took a deep breath, closed the box, and I gave her a look, and she understood the look. She's like, what happened? I said, we might have a little problem. So she came over, she saw it, she's like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Blah, blah, blah. She started panicking. I was like, okay, calm down, it's okay, let's just figure this out. Now, which brings me to my second point, that is, fix it if you can. In my car, whenever I'm delivering a cake, I always have something to fix it with, either ribbon or you know, the icing, because sometimes, like, you know, people can nick it, or, you know, things happen. Maybe like a decoration falls off and you just have to glue it back with some royal icing or something like that. Like, always have these little things on hand. But as you could tell, that cake was just beyond salvageable. Like, the top tier was ruined, the middle tier was ruined, and the bottom tier was ruined. It was just gone. So I couldn't fix it. So the second point didn't work for me. I couldn't fix it at that point. Which then brings me to my third point. If you can't fix it, then find an alternative, which is what I did. I ended up calling a whole bunch of places. Every single bakery that I called, they didn't have anything on hand. You know, they needed like a 2-week, you know, heads up. And honestly, all I wanted was just a plain white cake, and I would have just done something, you know, figured it out. But nobody had anything. They either had stuff with sprinkles on them, or, you know, different things. Like, it just wasn't what I needed. What I did find, or what I did do at the end, is I used to work at a bakery, and so I called my manager there, well, the guy who was my manager there, and I literally like begged him. I was like, please, 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 can you make me a cake? And he said, no, I'm so sorry, there's nothing I can do, but we can make you cupcakes if you want. So I ended up getting about like 100 you know, cupcakes, like vanilla and chocolate cupcakes with just white icing, and I just put them on the table for her, and it was just that's what I ended up giving her as a compensation. Now, the next point that I want to make is apologize and offer compensation. Now, you can either, you know, give them their money back, which is I would recommend in this situation. You can also offer them a discount on the next cake. You can offer them to make another cake for them completely for free for their next event. Some people will take it, some people will not, especially if it's the first time that they're working with you. They probably will be like, yeah, okay, I'm never working with you again. Some other times, you know, like, they know your work and they know what you're capable of, and they'll say, okay, I understand, it was a mistake, you know, maybe, you know, for the anniversary cake, we'll get it for free, or maybe for, you know, our first kid's baptism cake, we'll get it for free. You know, have it in writing and give it to them, just so that they feel, you know, that you understand that it was your fault and you're willing to remedy it. What I do want to tell you is, although you want to apologize and be very, very sorry, don't kill yourself over it. It's, you know, it's an accident. You didn't pick up the cake and throw it on the floor. It happens. Don't beat yourself up about it. Be apologetic, but don't, you know, offer them your firstborn. You know, like, it's not the end of the world. Now, the last point is, once you have remedied your wrongdoing with them, make sure that you follow up on the compensation. Like, don't just say, oh, you can get the next cake for free. You know, write them a card, say, you know, like, thank you so much for trusting me with your cake. I really do apologize that it didn't turn out the way we, you know, intended. You know, please accept from me, as we have discussed earlier. Call me anytime when you're ready for that next cake, or that next dessert, or that next whatever. So definitely follow up on it. They really will appreciate it. And if at the moment they were really pissed and didn't want anything to do with you, and would bash you on Facebook to their friends, maybe once you have sent out that card and that apology letter, they will understand, you know, that you really are sorry and that you really mean what you said about giving them, you know, the incentive. So thankfully for me, the person that I made the cake for was extremely understanding. She actually was a friend of mine. She was my friend's mother, and she completely understood that it was a mistake. I mean, obviously, you know, she was bummed that she didn't have the cake that she wanted. However, she understood and she didn't blame me for it. She didn't make me feel any type of way for it. But I guess if you do have that customer that is yelling at you or making you feel horrible for it, remove yourself from that situation. I want to tell you a little story real quickly about a situation like this that happened to me. I was late with a cake that I was supposed to deliver. It was completely my fault. I ran late. I was maybe like half hour late, maybe 45 minutes. I was really late to the party, and it was supposed to be a quinceañera party. So the lady was waiting for, you know, the cake, and I, you know, get there with the cake, and I'm calling her frantically. She never picked up the phone. So I get to the venue, and I'm like, you know, knocking on the door, etc. And this gentleman comes out, and he said, hi. I was like, hi, I'm so sorry, I'm here to deliver a cake. Can I speak to, I'm just gonna say Mary. Can I speak to Mary? And she comes out, and she's screaming at the top of her lungs, where were you? You were late with the cake, and blah, 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 blah. Like, she was furious. She wasn't having any of it. Anything that I told her, she cut me off. Like, she was so pissed that I came late with that cake, because she wanted, you know, obviously the cake there before her daughter came down from the stairs, and it was just a mess. What I did is I said, you know what, I'm really sorry. Here's the cake. You don't have to pay me if you don't want to, but here's the cake. So at that point, I didn't take payments ahead of time. So I grabbed the cake, I put it at her doorstep, and I walked away. There's nothing you can do at that point if a customer is so mad and so pissed that they're either threatening you or yelling at you or cursing you out. You just walk away. They can't put you in jail. They can't beat you up. They can't kill you over a mistake. What you do is you apologize, and you follow these steps that I've told you, and you should be good to go. Don't listen to people who are going to try to make you feel horribly about yourself. Just fix the situation if you can. If you cannot, apologize and walk away. You know, because of this whole ordeal, it kind of forced me to think outside the box of what to do when situations like this occur. And what I came up with is, and maybe not gonna work for everything, but especially for wedding cakes and such stuff like that, I think what I'm going to do is, whenever I'm going to deliver the cake, I'm gonna bring a dummy cake with me. So I'm gonna make just like a simple designed dummy cake, maybe with some pleats or with some, you know, that crisscross design, chevron is called, no, not chevron, but you know what I'm talking about, with the little crisscross and little diamonds on it. Just something simple and classic, and maybe bring with me different colored ribbons and different colored, either gold or silver, you know, studs around, and then just white flowers, like the fake flowers, fake sugar flowers. So I'm gonna make the cake and just bring it with me at the delivery. Should anything happen to the cake that I'm supposed to deliver and I can't fix it, it's something that's not fixable, I can at least have that cake there as a display cake. And then maybe do what I said, like bring them cupcake, you know, buy them cupcakes to serve, or maybe like a sheet cake to serve, because at most venues, they don't cut the cake in front of you. They bring it to the back, they cut it, and then they plate it and bring it out. So if I have just like a big sheet cake, I can bring it to them, they can cut it up, and then you know, serve it to their guests, but they still have that cake that's standing there. Obviously, it's not the design that they wanted, but it's still something. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm trying to say. At least I have something if, you know, the cake collapses or if something happens to it. So that is it for today's video. I hope it was helpful to you. I hope you have learned from my mistake and that it does not happen to you. But if it does, you know, we're human, we'll make mistakes, and you know, nobody's perfect. If it does happen to you, you have the steps that you need to follow. It's 1, keep your calm, don't panic. If you panic, the customer panics. Number 2, fix it if you can. Number 3, if you cannot fix it, find an alternative. Number 4, apologize and don't take it personal. Don't stress out over it. Just apologize and you know, offer a remedy. And then the last step is follow up on that remedy that you offered to them. So I hope it was helpful to you guys. I love you. I'll talk to you next time.